Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of God, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Honorable UN Secretary General, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, respected President General Assembly, Vok Yaramich, Honorable UN Envoy for Global Education, Mr. Gordon Brown, respected elders, and my dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum. Today, it is an honor for me to be speaking again after a long time. Being here with such honorable people is a great moment in my life, and it's an honor for me that today I'm wearing a shawl of Benazir Bhutto Shaheed. I don't know where to begin my speech. I don't know what people would be expecting me to say. But first of all, thank you to God, for whom we all are equal. And thank you to every person who has prayed for my fast recovery and a new life. I cannot believe how much love people have shown me. I have received thousands of good wish cards and gifts from all over the world. Thank you to all of them. Thank you to the children whose innocent words encouraged me. Thank you to my elders whose prayers strengthened me. I would like to thank my nurses, doctors, and the staff of the hospitals in Pakistan, in the UK, in the UAE government, who have helped me to get better and recover my strength. I fully support Mr. Ban Ki-moon, the Secretary General, in his Global Education First initiative, in the work of the UN Special Envoy, Mr. Gordon Brown, and the respected President General Assembly, Vok Yaramich. I thank all of them for their leadership that they continue to give. They continue to inspire all of us to action. Dear brothers and sisters, do remember one thing. Malala Day is not my day. Today is the day of every woman, every boy, and every girl who have raised their voice for their rights. There are hundreds of human rights activists and social workers who are not only speaking for their rights, but who are struggling to achieve their goal of peace, education, and equality. Thousands of people have been killed by the terrorists, and millions have been injured. I'm just one of them. So here I stand, one girl among many. I speak not for myself, but for those without voice can be heard. Those who have fought for their rights. Their right to live in peace. Their right to be treated with dignity. Their right to equality of opportunity. Their right to be educated. Dear friends, on the 9th of October 2012, the Taliban shot me on the left side of my forehead. They shot my friends too. They thought that the bullet would silence us, but they failed. of voices. The terrorists thought that they would change my aims and stop my ambitions. But nothing changed in my life except this. Weakness, fear, and hopelessness died. Strength, power, and courage was born. I am the same Malala. My ambitions are the same. My hopes are the same. And my dreams are the same. Dear sisters and brothers, I'm not against anyone. Neither am I here to speak in terms of personal revenge against the Taliban or any other terrorist group. I'm here to speak up for the right of education of every child. I want education for the sons and daughters of the Taliban and all the terrorists and extremists. I do not even hate the Talib who shot me. Even if there is a gun in my hand and he stands in front of me, I would not shoot him. This is the compassion that I have learned from Muhammad, the Prophet of Mercy, and Jesus Christ and Lord Buddha. This is the legacy of change that I have inherited from Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, and Muhammad Ali Jinnah. This is the philosophy of non-violence that I have learned from Gandhiji, Bacha Khan, and Mother Teresa. And this is the forgiveness that I have learned from my father and from my mother. And this is what my soul is telling me. Be peaceful and love everyone. Dear sisters and brothers, we realize the importance of light when we see darkness. We realize the importance of our voice when we are silenced. In the same way, when we were in Swat, the north of Pakistan, we realized the importance of pens and books when we saw the guns. The wise saying, the pen is mightier than sword, was true. The extremists were and they are afraid of books and pens. The power of education frightens them. They are afraid of women. The power of the voice of women frightens them. And that is why they killed 14 innocent students in the recent attack in Quetta. And that is why they killed female teachers and polio workers in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. That is why they are blasting schools every day. Because they were and they are afraid of change, afraid of equality that we will bring into our society. And I remember that there was a boy in our school who was asked by a journalist, why are the Taliban against education? He answered very simply by pointing to his book. He said, a Talib doesn't know what is written inside this book. They think that God is a tiny little conservative being who would send girls to the hell just because of going to school. The terrorists are misusing the name of Islam and Pashtun society for their own personal benefits. Pakistan is a peace-loving democratic country. Pashtuns want education for their daughters and sons. And Islam is a religion of peace, humanity and brotherhood. Islam says it's not only each child's right to get education, rather it's their duty and responsibility. Honorable Secretary General, peace is necessary for education. In many parts of the world, especially Pakistan and Afghanistan, terrorism, wars and conflicts stop children to go to their schools. We are really tired of these wars. Women and children are suffering in many ways in many parts of the world. In India, innocent and poor children are victims of child labor. Many schools have been destroyed in Nigeria. People in Afghanistan have been affected by the hurdles of extremism for decades. Young girls have to do domestic child labor and are forced to get married at early age. Poverty, ignorance, injustice, racism, and the deprivation of basic rights are the main problem faced by both men and women. Dear fellows, today I'm focusing on women's rights and girls' education because they are suffering the most. There was a time when women social activists asked men to stand up for their rights, but this time we will do it by ourselves. I'm not telling men to step away from speaking for women's rights. Rather, I'm focusing on women to be independent, to fight for themselves. So, dear sisters and brothers, now it's time to speak up. So today, we call upon the world leaders to change their strategic policies in favor of peace and prosperity. We call upon the world leaders that all the peace deals must protect women's and children's rights. A deal that goes against the rights of women is unacceptable. We call upon all governments to ensure free compulsory education all over the world for every child. We call upon all the governments to fight against terrorism and violence, to protect children from brutality and harm. We call upon the developed nations to support the expansion of educational opportunities for girls in the developing world. We call upon all the communities to be tolerant, to reject prejudice based on caste, creed, sect, color, religion, or gender, to ensure freedom and equality for women so that they can flourish. We cannot all succeed when half of us are held back. We call upon our sisters around the world to be brave, to embrace the strength within themselves and realize their full potential. Dear brothers and sisters, we want schools and education for every child's bright future. We will continue our journey to our destination of peace and education. No one can stop us. We will speak up for our rights and we will bring change through our voice. believe in the power and the strength of our words. Our words can change the whole world because we are all together, united for the cause of education. And if we want to achieve our goal, then let us empower ourselves with the weapon of knowledge. And let us shield ourselves with unity and togetherness. Dear brothers and sisters, we must not forget that millions of people are suffering from poverty, injustice, and ignorance. We must not forget that millions of children are out of their schools. We must not forget that our sisters and brothers are waiting for a bright, peaceful future. So let us wage a global struggle against illiteracy, poverty, and terrorism. Let us pick up our books and our pens. They are our most powerful weapons. One child, one teacher, one book, and one pen can change the world. Education is the only solution. Education first. Thank you. Whenever I go and speak, the only problem I face is that the podium is usually taller than me. So I hope it would be good this time. I'm feeling honored that I'm being chosen as a Nobel laureate, and I have been honored with this precious award, the Nobel Peace Prize. And I'm proud that I'm the first Pakistani and the first young woman or the first young person who is getting this award. It's a great honor for me. And I'm also really happy that I'm sharing this award with a person from India whose name is Kailash Satyarthi. And his great work for child's rights, his great work against child slavery totally inspires me. And I'm really happy that there are so many people who are working for children's rights, and I'm not alone. And he totally deserved this award. So I'm feeling honored that I'm sharing this award with him. He received this award, and we both are the two Nobel Award receivers. One is from Pakistan, one is from India. One believes in Hinduism, one strongly believes in Islam. And it gives a message to people. It gives a message to people of love between Pakistan and India, and between different religions. And we both support each other. It does not matter what's the color of your skin, what language do you speak, what religion you believe in. It is that we should all consider each other as human beings, and we should respect each other. And we should all fight for our rights, for the rights of children, for the rights of women, and for the rights of every human being. First of all, I would like to thank my family, my dear father, my dear mother, for their love, for their support. As my father always say, he did not give me something extra, but what he did, that he did not clip my wings. So I'm thankful to my father for not clipping my wings, for letting me to fly and achieve my goals, for showing to the world that a girl is not supposed to be the slave. A girl has the power to go forward in her life.
And she's not only a mother, she's not only a sister, she's not only a wife, but a girl she should have an identity, she should be recognized, and she has equal rights as a boy. Even though my brother thinks that they are treated, that I'm treated very well and they're not treated very well, but that's fine if it's that, but that's fine. Well, I would like to share with you how I found about the Nobel Peace Prize, and it's quite exciting because I was in my chemistry class and we were studying about electrolysis, anode, cathode, and the time was, I think, 10:15. So the time of the announcement of the Nobel Peace Prize was gone. And before that, I was not expecting that I would get this award. And when it went to like 10:15, I was totally sure that I haven't won it. But then suddenly one of my teachers came to the class and she called me and she said, I have something important to tell you. And I was totally surprised when she told me that congratulations, you have won the Nobel Peace Prize and you are sharing it with a great person who is also working for children's rights. And it's sometimes quite difficult to express your feelings, but I felt really honored. I felt more powerful and more courageous because this award is not just a piece of metal or a medal that you would wear or an award that you would keep in your room, but this is really an encouragement for me to go forward and to believe in myself, to know that there are people who are supporting me in this campaign, and we are standing together. We all want to make sure that every child gets quality education. So this is really something great for me. However, when I found that I have won the Nobel Peace Prize, I decided that I would not leave my school. Rather, I would finish my school time. I went to the physics lesson, I learned, I went to the English lessons, and it was totally like, I considered it as a normal day. And I was really happy by the response of my teachers and my fellow students. They were all saying that we are proud of you, and I'm really thankful to my school, to my teachers, to my school fellows for their love, for their support, and they really encourage me and they're supporting me. So I'm really happy, even though it's not going to help me in my tests and exams because it totally depends on my hard work, but still I'm really happy that they are supporting me. I have received this award, but this is not the end. This is not the end. This is not the end of this campaign which I have started. I think this is really the beginning. And I want to see every child going to school. There are still 57 million children who have not received education, who are still out of the primary schools. And I want to see every child going to school and getting education. Because I have myself suffered through the same situation when I was in Swat Valley. And you all may know that in Swat there was Talibanization, and because of that, no girl was allowed to go to school. At that time, I stood up for my rights and I said that I will speak up. I did not wait for someone else. I had really two options. One was not to speak and wait to be killed, and the second was to speak up and then be killed. And I chose the second one because at that time there was terrorism. Women were not allowed to go outside of their houses. Girls' education was totally bad. People were killed. At that time, I needed to raise my voice because I wanted to go back to school. I was also one of those girls who could not get education. I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn and be who I can be in my future. And I also had dreams like a normal child has. I wanted to become a doctor at that time. Now I want to become a politician, a good politician. And when I heard that I cannot go to school, I just for a second thought that I would never able to become a doctor, or I would never able to be who I want to be in future. And my life would be just getting married at the age of 13 or 14, not going to school, not becoming who I really can be. So I decided that I will speak up. So through my story, I want to tell other children all around the world that they should stand up for their rights. They should not wait for someone else. And their voices are more powerful. Their voices, it would seem that they are weak, but at the time when no one speaks, your voice gets so louder that everyone has to listen to it. Everyone has to hear it. So it's my message to children all around the world that they should stand up for their rights. And the award that I have received, the Nobel Peace Prize, I believe that the Nobel Committee, they haven't given it just to me. But this award is for all those children who are voiceless, whose voices need to be heard. And I speak for them, and I stand up with them, and I join them in their campaign that their voices should be heard, and they should be listened, and they have rights. They have rights. They have the right to receive quality education. They have the right not to suffer from child labor, not to suffer from child trafficking. They have the right to live a happy life. So I stand up with all those children, and this award is especially for them. It gives them courage. At the end, I would like to share with you that I had a phone call with Honorable Kailash. I cannot pronounce his surname accurately, so please, I just ask for forgiveness for that. I'll just call him Kailash if he wouldn't mind. So I had a phone call with him right now, and we both talked that how important it is that every child goes to school and every child gets quality education, and how many issues are there that the children are suffering but are not yet highlighted. So we both decided that we will work together for this cause, that every child gets quality education and do not suffer from these issues. Other than that, we also decided that as he is from India and I'm from Pakistan, we will try to build strong relationships between India and Pakistan. And nowadays, you know that there is tension on the border, and situation is getting, it's not like as we are expecting. We want Pakistan and India to have good relationships, and the tension that is going on is really disappointing, and I'm really sad because I want both the countries to have dialogue, to have talks about peace, and to think about progress, to think about development, rather than fighting with each other. It's important that both the countries focus more on education, focus more on development and progress, which is good for both of them. So we both decided that I requested him that would it be possible that he request his Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi to join us when we receive the Nobel Peace Prize in December. And I promised him that I would also request the Honorable Prime Minister of Pakistan, Nawaz Sharif, to join us when I get and he gets the Nobel Peace Prize. So, and I myself request the Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Honorable Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif that they both join us when we receive the Nobel Peace Prize. I really believe in peace, I really believe in tolerance and patience, and it is very important for the progress of both the countries that they have peace and they have good relationships. This is how they are going to achieve success, and this is how they are going to progress. So it is my humble request, and I hope it would be heard, it would be listened. At the end, I want to say that I'm really happy for your support. I used to say that I think I do not deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. I still believe that. But I believe that it is not only an award for what I've done, but it is also an encouragement for giving me hope, for giving me the courage to go and continue this campaign, to believe in myself and to know that I'm not alone. There are hundreds and thousands and millions who are supporting me. So once again, thank you so much to all of you. Thank you.
Dear friends, it is my great privilege to introduce to you a champion for education and a fearless new Canadian, Malala Yousafzai.
Rahim. In the name of God, the most merciful, the most beneficent. Good afternoon, bonjour, assalamu alaikum, bakhair rabi. Mr. Prime Minister, Madam Trudeau, Sophie,
Mr. Speaker, members of the House, members of the Senate, distinguished guests, my parents, Ziauddin and Torpikai, and finally, the people of Canada, thank you so much for the warm welcome to your country. This is my first trip to Canada, but not my first attempt. On the 22nd of October 2014, my father and I landed at the Toronto airport, excited for our first visit to your wonderful country. Soon we learned that a man had attacked Parliament Hill, killing a Canadian soldier, wounding others, and threatening leaders and civil servants in the building where I stand today. Canadian security officials and professionals advised us to reschedule. With sorrow in our hearts, we headed back to England, promising to return to Canada one day. The man who attacked Parliament Hill called himself a Muslim, but he did not share my faith. He did not share the faith of 1.5 billion Muslims living in peace around the world. Sorry, the podium became too high, so I'm short-sighted, I couldn't read some of the words. So now I can read my speech. Back to my point that the man who attacked Parliament Hill called himself a Muslim, but he did not share my faith. He did not share the faith of 1.5 billion Muslims living in peace around the world. He did not share our Islam, a religion of learning, compassion, and mercy. I am a Muslim, and I believe that if you pick up a gun in the name of Islam and kill an innocent person, you are not Muslim anymore. You and the person who attacked Parliament Hill and all these terrorists do not share my faith. Instead, he shared the hatred of the man who attacked Quebec City Mosque in January, killing 6 people while they were at prayer. The same hatred as the man who killed civilians and police officers in London 3 weeks ago. The same hatred as the men who killed 132 school children in Pakistan Army Public School in Peshawar. The same hatred as the man who shot me and my 2 school friends. These men have tried to divide us and destroy our democracies, our freedom of religion, our right to go to school. But we and you refuse to be divided. Canadians, wherever you are born, however you worship, stand together. And nothing proves this more than your commitment to refugees. Around the world, we have heard about Canada's heroes. We heard about the members of the First United Church here in Ottawa, who sponsored newlyweds Amina and Ibrahim. A few months later, the family had their first child, a little girl named Maria. The church decided to raise more money to bring Abraham's brother and family to Canada, so Maria could grow up with her cousins. We heard about Jorge Salazar in Vancouver, who came to Canada as a child refugee, fleeing violence in Colombia. As a young adult, he's working with today's children, immigrants and refugees, helping them adopt with the new culture and country. And I'm very proud to announce that Farah Muhammad, a refugee who fled Uganda and came to Canada as a child, is Malala Fund's new CEO, a Canadian who will now lead the fight for girls' education around the world. Many people from my own country of Pakistan have found a promised land in Canada, from Maria Topikai Wazir, a famous squash player, to my relatives here today. Like the refugees in Canada and all around the world, I have seen fear and experienced times when I did not know if I was safe or not. I remember how my mom used to put a ladder at the back of our house so that if anything happened, we could escape. I still remember that I would read a Quranic verse, Ayatul Kursi, every night to protect our family and as many people as I could. I felt fear when I went to school, thinking that someone would stop me and harm me. I would hide my books under my scarf. The sound of bombs would wake me up at night. Every morning I would hear the news that more innocent people have been killed. I saw men with big guns in the streets. There's more peace now in my home of Swat Valley, Pakistan. But families like mine, from Palestine to Venezuela, Somalia to Myanmar, Iraq to Congo, are forced to flee their homes because of violence. So your motto and your stand, Welcome to Canada, is more than a headline or a hashtag. It is the spirit of humanity that every single one of us would yearn for if our family was in crisis. I pray that you continue to open your homes and your hearts to the world's most defenseless children and families, and I hope your neighbors will follow your example. I'm humbled to accept honorary citizenship of your country. While I will always be a proud Pashtun and a proud citizen of Pakistan, I'm grateful to be an honorary member of your nation of heroes, though I still require a visa. But that's another discussion. I was also very happy to meet Prime Minister Trudeau this morning. I'm amazed by his embrace of refugees, his commitment to appointing Canada's first gender-balanced cabinet, and his dedication to keeping women and girls at the center of your development strategy. We have heard so much about Prime Minister Trudeau, but one thing has surprised me. People are always talking about how young he is. They say that he is the second youngest Prime Minister in Canadian history. He does yoga, he has tattoos, and a lot more. And while I was coming here, everyone was telling me, like, shake Prime Minister's hand and, like, let us know how he looks in reality. And people were just so excited about meeting Trudeau. I don't think anyone cared about the Canadian honorary citizenship. While it may be true that Prime Minister Trudeau is young and he is young head of government, I would like to tell something to the children of Canada, that you don't have to be as old as the very young Prime Minister Trudeau to be a leader. Still paid 7, so there are like a lot left. So if you do a standing ovation again and again, you'll get tired. Just to let you know, there's a lot left. But I want want to share my story that I want to tell the children of Canada that when I was little, I used to wait to be an adult to lead. But I have learned that even a child's voice can be heard across the world. And to the young women of Canada, I want to say, let's step forward, raise your voices, and the next time I visit, I hope to see more of you filling these seats. And to the men of Canada, be proud feminists and help women get equal opportunities as men. And to the leaders of Canada today in this room, though you may have different politics and policies and priorities, I know each one of you is trying to respond to some of our world's most pressing problems. I have traveled the world and met many people in many countries. I have first-hand experience and I've seen many problems that we are facing today: war, economic instability, climate change, and health crises. And I can tell you that the answer is girls. Secondary education can transform communities, countries, and our world. And here's what the statistics say. I'm saying it for those who still don't accept education as important. There are some, but I hope they will hear that if all girls went to school for 12 years, low and middle income countries would add $92 billion per year to their economies. Educated girls are less likely to marry young and contract HIV, and more likely to have healthy and educated children. The Brookings Institution calls secondary education for girls as the most cost-effective and best investment against climate change. When a country gives all its children secondary education, they cut their risk of war in half. Education is vital for the security of the world because extremism grows alongside inequality. In places where people feel they have no opportunity, no voice, no hope. When women are educated, there are more jobs for everyone. When mothers can keep their children alive and send them to school, there is hope. But around the world, 130 million girls are out of school today. They may not have read the studies and they may not know the statistics, but they understand that education is the only path to a brighter future, and they are fighting to go to school. Last summer, on a trip to Kenya, I was introduced to the bravest girl I have ever met. At age 13, Rahma's family fled Somalia and came to Dadaab, the world's largest refugee camp. She had never been inside a classroom, but she worked hard to catch up, and in a few years, graduated primary school. At 18, Rahma was in secondary school when her parents decided to move back to Somalia. They promised she could continue her education. But when her family returned to Somalia, there were no schools for her to attend. Her father said her education was finished and that she would soon marry a man in his 50s, a man she did not know. Rahma remembered a friend from the refugee camp who had won a scholarship in a university in Canada. She borrowed a neighbor's internet and contacted him through Facebook. Over the internet, the university student in Canada sent her $70. At night, Rahma snuck out of her house, bought a bus ticket, and set out on an 8-day-long trip back to the refugee camp, the only place she knew she could go to school. Through the Sustainable Development Goals, our nations promised every girl she would go to school for 12 years. We promised that donor countries and developing countries would work together to make this dream a reality for the poorest girls in the world. I know that politicians cannot keep every promise they make, but this is the one you must honor. World leaders can no longer expect girls like Rahma to fight this battle alone. We can gain peace, grow economies, improve our public health and the air we breathe, or we can lose another generation of girls. I stand with girls as someone who knows what it is like to flee your home and wonder if you will ever be able to go back to school. I stand with girls as someone who knows how it feels to have the right of education taken away and your dreams threatened. I know where I stand. If you stand with me, I ask you to seize every opportunity for girls' education over the next year. Dear Canada, I'm asking you to lead once again. First, make girls' education a central theme of your G7 presidency next year. Second, use your influence to fill the global education funding gap. You raised billions of dollars and saved lives when you hosted the Global Fund's replenishment in Montreal last year. Show the same leadership for education. Host the upcoming replenishment of Global Partnership for Education. Bring world leaders together and raise new funding for girls to go to school. If Canada leads, I know the world will follow. Finally, prioritize 12 years of education and schooling for refugees. Today, only a quarter of refugee children can get secondary education. We should not ask children who flee their homes to also give up their dreams. We must recognize that young refugees are future leaders on whom we all depend for peace. The world needs leadership. The world needs leadership based on serving humanity, not based on how many weapons you have. Canada can take that lead. Our world has many problems, but we don't need to look far for the solution. We already have one. She is living in a refugee camp in Jordan. She is walking 5 kilometers to school in Guatemala. She is suing footballs to pay enrollment fees in India. She is every one of the girls out of school around the world today. We know what to do, but we must look inside ourselves for the will to keep our promises. Dear sisters and brothers, we have a responsibility to improve the world. When future generations read about us in their books or on their iPads or whatever the next innovation will be, I don't want them to be shocked that 130 million girls could not go to school and we did nothing. I don't want them to be shocked that we did not stand up for child refugees as millions of families fled their homes. I don't want us to be known for failing them. Let the future generations say, we were the ones who stood up. Let them say, we were the first ones. We were the first to live in a world where all girls could learn and lead without fear. Let us be the ones who bring that change we want to see. Thank you so much for listening. proud to be the first Pashtun, the first Pakistani, and the youngest person to receive this award. Along with that, I'm pretty certain that I'm also the first recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize who still fights with her younger brothers. I want there to be peace everywhere, but my brothers and I are still working on that. I'm also honored to receive this award together with Kailash Satyarthi, who has been a champion for children's rights for a long time, twice as long, in fact, than I have been alive. I'm proud that we can work together. We can work together and show the world that an Indian and a Pakistani, they can work together and achieve their goals of children's rights. Dear brothers and sisters, I was named after the inspirational Malala of Maiwand, who is the Pashtun Joan of Arc. The word Malala means grief-stricken, sad. But in order to lend some happiness to it, my grandfather would always call me Malala, the happiest girl in the world. And today, I'm very happy that we are together fighting for an important cause. This award is not just for me. It is for those forgotten children who want education. It is for those frightened children who want peace. It is for those voiceless children who want change. I'm here to stand up for their rights, to raise their voice. It is not time to pity them. It is not time to pity them. It is time to take action. So it becomes the last time. The last time. So it becomes the last time that we see a child deprived of education. I have found that people describe me in many different ways. Some people call me the girl who was shot by the Taliban, and some the girl who fought for her rights. Some people call me a Nobel laureate now. However, my brothers still call me that annoying bossy sister. As far as I know, I'm just a committed and even stubborn person who wants to see every child getting quality education, who wants to see women having equal rights, and who wants peace in every corner of the world.